And a hearty shout out for all of you that are in the Rabyd Nation and outside of it. Welcome one and all, whether you're a citizen, a tourist, or just somebody looking across the border wondering whether or not to immigrate into the country. Welcome one and all to the Rabyd Atheist. I'm your host, Ed Rabyd, a former pastor turned atheist, now compassionate anti-theist. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my live stream. Welcome to Deconversion Hangout on a Thursday. We do this every Thursday where we talk deconversion, we talk what it's like to navigate the world after faith, although some of us have taken to the atheist religion of the fluffle of fangs, including myself. Very wonderful, a better deity than Yahweh. We'll just put it that way. That's our slogan, although that's not a very high bar. But welcome one and all to Deconversion Hangout. As such, the moderation is a little bit higher. My mods have been kind of theists. You have been warned. We're here to talk deconversion and what it's like to live without faith. And I don't really want to necessarily deal with people who are theists that want to badger us or bother us. And so if you're sitting out there listening, you have to wait 20 minutes as a subscriber before you can comment and post. So there you go. So thanks everybody for being here. There's a goal in chat. That's just my low-key fun way of asking for a little money for the streams. If we reach that goal, I will wear the hat chosen by the poll for the rest of the stream. Just 5 super chats and we're there. So $2 or more, and I appreciate all the support. So there you go. But before we begin, before we get to today's question, which is after leaving your faith, what was the hardest thing you left behind? We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's get a quick roll call. Fred was here earlier. He he says his honest rejection of theism is something that he just kind of lives with. He's never been a believer, so the question probably doesn't really pertain to him. Blossom, of course, is talking about all the things about he doesn't understand about Christians. So same thing as Santa Claus. But yes, Fred reminds you to be nice to me. Be nice, fluffers. Triple He was here earlier. The elder gods have graced us with their presence. Rimmer is here. Nathan is here. Yes, The God Delusion is actually a very good book. That was written before Richard Dawkins became so controversial for his other views. So, so there you go. But yes, the sciencey parts are pretty good, and the as Rimmer points out, but also his analysis of religion. Is religion a delusion or not by technical definition? And so yes, there's that. And Michael is here from Germany. The mighty Philbert, great video yesterday, by the way. I had to clap for that one. We didn't start the fire and burn it down. We just kind of walked away and watched it disintegrate on its own. That's what we were talking about. Triple E is back. Salt, huh? There you go. Jacqueline's here. All right, Phantom is here too. Good to see you, Phantom. All right, I think that is it. I'll kind of go first. After leaving my faith, what was the hardest thing I left behind? I kind of have a threefold thing here. One, leaving my faith was a career shifter. I was a pastor, so there are elements to pastoring as a career that I miss. When you're on a more of a salaried position and you have a certain service-oriented job to do, I do kind of miss that because I had a lot of time to read. I had a lot of time to research and study and write. I don't have that much time as I used to before. That was one of the hard things, although not too bad because I feel pastoring is kind of a scam, whether people realize it or not. So that was one. I lost a ton of friends by leaving both Christianity and the ministry. Leaving my friends behind was a tough one. So that one was a tough, I don't know. I remember that my Facebook friend count went from like 500 to 150 within a couple weeks after I left the ministry, and kind of indicated that I had become an atheist. So that was fun. Um, and I think the third thing I lost, the hard thing to walk away from, it was a long term effect, was eventually I had to walk away from my marriage. We had based so much of our marriage on religion and Christianity that once you take all that away, there wasn't much left of it. And it was just a hard decision to make. But so that's probably it. That was me. You can always ask questions about all that stuff. I try to be very open here for me. Um, see, prayer, because I used to do it a lot, but I replaced it with Chat GPT and meditation. Yeah, um, yeah, I can see that. I can see like having somebody to talk to you on the reg, because let's be honest, sometimes with our family and stuff, we just don't feel comfortable even talking with them about stuff, but we can talk to somebody who may be like a god. You know, you can talk to a god because you figure they're listening, and all of that. And I can see where meditation can take the place of all that. Like I still meditate from time to time when I need to calm down. It's one of my coping mechanisms sometimes for when my nervous system gets out of whack and things like that. It's a way to put things back in balance. So yeah, but I can see where some people, like, prayer is mentioned often, and they say it's the hardest thing to left behind is this relationship that you had that was really close with your imaginary friend. So yes, but yeah, I can absolutely see that. That's actually so. I haven't had a chance to watch Mindshift's video today. I sleep during the day, so I usually watch these things or listen to them at night when I'm at work. So I've been doing that a lot. So you lose a lot of friends. Yeah, that's and that's kind of par for the course. Like it's amazing how many of my friendships were based on the superficiality of faith. Like they're not. We had all these other things in common. You know, like you know, you had similar interests. You knew similar people. You did similar things. Like you always doing the same thing and together. But somehow the faith was the deal breaker. Like if you didn't have the same faith, yeah, they're not so. And Remember points us out, then they're not really all that great of friends. So yeah, 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 it was a rough one. Yeah, it is. Uh, There's a culture code that doesn't believe still prays as a type of meditation. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of the concept of there's somebody out there in charge that's kind of keeping things from going completely bullshit and sideways. Yeah, that's a like that concept leaving your mind can be hard to deal with. Like, no, wait a minute, we might actually have to take responsibility for ourselves as a human race. Like we can't blame God or expect God to push the stop button if we get out of line. So um my meditation, Josh, is usually just calming down, clearing my head, and then trying to focus on what I should be thinking about. And it's more about when my anxiety levels get really high. Um, it's a way of kind of calming down my anxieties, but it's mostly just about taking deep breaths, just sitting there, relaxing. I can do it pretty much anywhere, and I don't need like anything special to do it. It's something I've learned to do to deal with my anxiety levels, so it helps get them down. Um, yeah, family too. Yeah, my Philberts, I think, lost a few family members over leaving the faith, so I get that. Dealing with death, yeah, in some ways it's definitely harder. Like it's dealing with my own father's death. When I first dealt with it when I was young and I was still I was going into the ministry. I was in seminary at the time when my dad died. Holding on to the idea I might see him again was quote unquote helpful, but when I look back at it, it wasn't really that helpful. Um, I think I got eventually Aso. And by the way, Aso, it's good to see you. But Aso's been around for a while, but haven't seen him in a bit. I think what happened later when I realized that there wasn't the Christian God is probably bunk, very likely, high probability. I went to my father's grave a little bit after that, and I think I genuinely finally grieved. And so, in one ways, I agree with you. So, in others, I think it's there was a nice understanding that this was the finality and it was over, and that's so. It's like so, yeah. So there you go. Some religious friends of mine did stay with me. I still hang out with them from time to time. I just don't debate when we hang out. Yep. Yeah, you kind of have to change the shift the nature of your friendship if you're going to keep them. So, it's a mess. No sky to pray on how to replace God. Yeah. Friends, real people. And so, yeah, I think for me, um, it was like that until I realized, okay, without a God, I'm not going to see my father again. And I was able to let him go in the end. And so I think that helped a lot. Yeah, you might check your notifications. I have to check my notifications like every month, Wolf, because for some reason YouTube just disappears. So yeah, show you this kind of content. Yeah, streams are kind of bad. Yes, Asho has been a member for 27 months, over 2 years. Look at you. so but yes, yeah, I know. I think yeah, it's been that long. Gosh, man. I remember when you hit 2 years, and has it been 3 months now? God, and so another reason to ask Asho what's wrong with him, I guess, and he will say, "I have a list." Join the informal boycott. Okay, a guy called Guard the League inspired me to join the informal boycott. There you go. Phantom, I think the only thing I lost was the feeling that reality doesn't make a lot of sense. The world with no God makes much more to me. Yes. I think once you get rid of God out of your thinking, like I say, I don't think atheism can be a worldview by itself, but it can shape certain parts of your worldview. And I think the worldview of a child is that somebody else is going to come along and save our ass, or somebody else made this and makes it make sense. But the view of an adult is, oh, no, wait a minute, I've got to take responsibility for this. And that makes a lot more sense of taking responsibility for your actions and for what goes on in your life and what goes on in the world. Like you can't slough it off on a God anymore. I remember when I lost that, it wasn't a hard thing to lose. It was a challenging thing to lose, though, because I had to rethink, my worldview in a lot of respects. But there's a lot of things in a worldview that have nothing to do with a God, but it can affect them. And not believing that there's somebody out there that has shaped reality the way it is. Yeah, I can think so. So there you go. Hey, Clanky. Oh, thank you for the fangs of it. All right, there you go. That's one. What do I think of the possibility of ghosts? I mean, image suddenly haunt places like we die. I don't believe it, but I like to pretend. I think ghosts are an interesting thought. I don't. I don't subscribe to the beliefs myself. There's a lot of paranormal nonsense. Like as a former Pentecostal, when I watch paranormal investigators, I hear a lot of the same language that they use to kind of gin up expectations and all that stuff. I think it was a lot of other magicians that have debunked like seances, like back in the day. Harry Houdini did a lot of that. Like it's amazing how stage magicians, a lot of them debunk that sort of thing. Like they tell you how it's done. but I'm not a big believer in ghosts or anything supernatural. I you gotta give me some evidence for it. I think that's my demand for evidence is kind of gets rid of stuff. So there you go. See, I've just been very pragmatic. I was really sad when my paternal grandfather died at 98, but at the time I realized he had lived a full life and there was nothing left of him. Yes. So there you go. So yeah, it's like it's dealing with death, like having that easy answer of I'm going to see them again and then get rid of it. Like, okay, that changes the way you treat people when they're alive too. Like, I think it's a positive, to be honest. It's a hard thing to get up. I'm not going to say I'm talking about hard things to give up and change. I mean, it's a hard thing to give up this notion of an afterlife, but I think it also causes you to treat the people in your life a little bit better. Like you realize, okay, this person isn't going to be around forever. Like they're not going to be. Someday they're going to be gone, and if they're older, there's a higher likelihood. It makes you more aware, I think, of your relationships in the here and now. It's easy with an afterlife belief to kind of, I'll do that later, and if they die, I've known people that didn't go to the deathbed of somebody they liked because it didn't. It's not going to matter. I'll see them again later. If they die, oh well, kind of thing. And I think I don't know, afterlife. I think a good case could be made that afterlife beliefs can cause you to dehumanize even people you love. So, so you kind of have to watch that too. But I've, excuse me, my attitude has been now like try to treat people well. It actually encourages me to do that. So let's see. I miss a sense of meaning. I become somewhat nihilistic, and I always saw children and ministry as a big goal for meaning. But I'm single and childless, and life tends to feel a bit meh. Yeah, I think so. I'm single. I'm not childless. I got like 3 of them, and I got 9 grandchildren running around. So, um, I I think the biggest struggle I had with that is realizing you can find some temporal meaning in this life that can give you purpose and meaning and direction without necessarily thinking that you need something eternal. The nihilistic attitude is something you do have to deal with as an atheist. But at the same time, I've ultimately there's no meaning. I suppose it's all heat death, but that's a long way off. And in the meantime, I can have some sort of good purpose now. It's just a matter of discovering it. It's an interesting journey of discovery that I discovered, which I'm still on, by the way. I would say that. So let's see. I miss the idea of being better through study and application, realizing I could treat people better in real life by interpreting stories is a useful way that made me more sympathetic, but it only goes so far. Yes. You don't have to actually give up that idea of study and application, though. I think you can study. There's a lot, truly, there's a lot of secular moral study you can do, and you can find some things you can apply there too. That was one thing. That was one thing when I first left the faith and I first left the ministry. That was a big concern of mine, and I just ended up, I ended up grabbing on to things like the 9 noble virtues, like looking at virtue ethics, stoicism, finding ways to live as far as character, and then applying those characteristics. You can still do some of that. You don't necessarily need the Bible to do that. You don't have to have holy books to do that. So, but I get what you're saying. It was an easy thing to do when I was a Christian to just study a Bible verse and sit there and say, okay, how do I put that into practice? Well, you can study other things outside the Bible and say, oh, I could put that into practice. That would make my life better. You can still do that. It's just a matter of reapplying the idea to something different. There's plenty of stuff for that you can learn and do. So I think the advantage that former Christians have, like if you were a person who studied the Bible a lot and you leave your faith, one of the great advantages for you is you just have to realize you can take some of those same disciplinary procedures and you can apply them to something else. Like you can absolutely do that. So, so there you go. Pragmatic when my neighbors will know God. It's not magical anymore. I get what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, there's not a lot of magic to it anymore. Like they're not applying something and magically you're going to change. That's gone. You have to actually put in some effort to change. The Buddhist or Hindu, which is cool concept, but there's no evidence for that either. No, like the thing you're going through right now, Nathan, is you're trying to find some sort of spirituality that has evidence to it. I could tell you not to do that, and I'll save you some time and tell you that you're not going to find it. But I think sometimes the search through all that and confirming it for yourself is a very good idea. So I'm going to let you go and keep doing that. Just understand that I already know what the end of the road is for that. Okay, so there you go. But yeah, so just remember that. Like I already know the end of that road. It's there. So hold on. I think I want to do. Let's see. We got yes, asshole and Cranky and Josh putting some in the cat bucket hat for the bucket hat. Okay. Okay. 023. All right. There we go. All right. There we go. There you go. That's 3. I skipped back to early in the where you hear you miss preaching. So I've seen this video where XJW goes into the kingdom and slowly and subtly challenges his doctrine during their talk. Yeah, I miss preaching from a certain aspect, Blossom. There's something about preparing a message that organized my thoughts. I kind of do the same thing with YouTube and my writing now. But preaching, there's something about it for the pastor. It's a trip. Like I wish they would hook up somebody like to stuff that measures, your brainwave activity and all that stuff while somebody is preaching. I would love to see that data. Okay. Because I think the real cool thing in Blossom is like, I'll bet there's an endorphin rush with a lot of preachers. Like, even if they're dry as a bone, like there's something about standing up in the pulpit that's kind of like a drug. I'll bet money. I would bet money on that one. You're a doggist. How's Jack doing? Still in therapy. Oh my gosh. Consider going to church and being sneaky like that. I can't go into a church. My RTS is still too strong. I'm getting better with the Bible though. Like I rip the Bible to shreds. As most of you know, the Wednesday night Bible study, I kind of rip the Bible to shreds a little bit. And I've gotten more comfortable doing that. But going into a church, I've had too many traumatic experiences inside a church, given 40 years of being a Christian and 20 years as a pastor and all that jazz. So I still have a large RTS when it comes to church buildings. So there you go. Something are really gone as long as we have good mentions of them. Yes. Yeah, learning to deal with death like you, I think death becomes more significant actually with a non-faith, because now you have to realize that those people are gone. Hate paramoral shorts because they're complete BS. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Hey, it's the lap in which our Lord naps. Good to see you, Earl. A very distant satellite. There. See, I haven't seen that in a while either. Yeah, I think you have more meaning as an atheist. Like your life means more to you because you realize it's the only one you get and you're not getting a second go around. It kind of makes you take the life that you do have a little bit more seriously. I will say that. So that's definitely true. So yeah, it's heavy stuff. Heavy stuff. Hey, Triple E came here like you're a lot like Nathan is right now. Back in the day, like you were still finding your way, and you're still doing it. You're always welcome here. Okay, and I'm happy to give my advice, and you're happy to follow it or not. It's kind of like the 13 fang dammits. Like you don't have to follow them. I think some of them are recommended. Like having consensual nibbling is probably a good one. So, so there you go. Oh my goodness. Uh, Energy, becoming energy. There you go. Oh, early, early. Yes, there you go. And just sticking to my atheist beliefs, but just learned it out after other religions had to say, but I'm not converting. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but I think the search around and looking around is actually good for you because what you learn is, um, I did this like the first couple of years that I was out of the faith. I did exactly what you're doing. Like I looked around, I poked at things. I was an atheist, but I would play with things. And suddenly realized that there's a couple of common themes in all spiritual claims, and one of them is a lack of evidence. Okay, so there you go. There you go. As a Christian, I thought other religions were of the devil, and now I'm allowed to read them. Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. Like you're allowed to do that. It's one of the taboo of. I don't think this isn't a hard thing for me to get, but the taboo of looking at other ideologies, beliefs, systems of belief, all that other stuff. Yeah, that's good stuff. Like it helps you. It really does. So because you start to see the common patterns in theology and superstitious belief, and you realize, oh, yes, Philbert, you and I come from a very similar background, but yes, there's a very drug-like rush to preaching and leading worship and being in a worship service. I really think, like in Pentecostal worship, you and I both know this very well. Like when they're all raising their hands, they're all singing, and you're leading that. And as a pastor, I didn't lead much worship. I'm not that musically talented as a leader, but being up on the stage and seeing all that, there's just kind of this euphoria that everybody gets involved into. And so I would love to see some data, like some brainwave data when that's going on. I really would. Hey, Wolf, thanks. Yeah, Wolf is upgraded, became a rabid citizen. Okay. Yes, I killed Earls just like a wizard. She's never late. She's never early. She arrives precisely when she means to. So there she is. There you go. She resides to drugs too, plus no dealing with people. Okay. All right, Greggy. Yeah, I guess from an elder god's perspective, that's probably a big deal. Like drugs are much better. I can get that. I can get behind that, I guess. All right. See you later, Martin. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, going around the different supernatural camps and the different gods and stuff, like when I was a Christian, like they were always telling us not to fool around with that stuff. I think there's something liberating about just being able to look at everything. Um, it, I think it's it shows that I think the reason why that's not a hard thing to do is because when you leave your faith, I think one of the first things you realize is that the taboos that were imposed on you by your religion aren't there anymore. And it's suddenly all that curiosity that you used to have is allowed to take flight. And I think it's important that people exercise that early on in their deconversion when they leave their faith, because you have to go look around and see, okay, do I see the same things in my faith that caused me to leave it? and other things. And I think that's really helpful. I know it was helpful for me. So um, make the same claim. Are the unique arbitrator of the supernatural. Yes, that's probably the other second common denominator, like lack of evidence, and they all make very similar claims. They just change the names. Like we do this with fangs all the time. Like, I can, we have a birth narrative for fangs. Jesus has a birth narrative. Like there's similarity. If you do a comparative religion study, Cranky's definitely well on. Like there's always these claims that they have, and that are very similar, just change the names or the nature of the claim. And part of it is like we're somehow unique compared to everybody else, but really they're not. And then there's the lack of evidence for those claims. Like that, those are the two common denominators of most all superstition religious beliefs. So it's kind of like they make all very similar claims, and then they just, all that. It just no evidence for it. So it's the hardest to go with the fact that I'm still relying to an extent to a family that's religious. So I don't want to rock the boat, especially when seeing family. You and I are in the same boat. I can so relate, Dragon Rider. Oh my gosh. I got to do that tomorrow. Like I'm going to my daughter's house. My mother and my daughter are very religious, still to an extent. Although I think I've taught my daughter growing up to use her brain, that just because you're religious doesn't mean you can't use your brain, which is a good way to stop being religious eventually. But yeah, I think the hard part is sometimes you don't leave certain things behind because you can't. Okay. And like some of that family, like, my mom was always good to me. I don't consider my life with my parents to be abusive necessarily. I'm not sure how much my parents were not also victims of some of the church abuse too, and it just kind of trickled all three of us. So my parents just didn't raise me that way. I was never like subordinate. I was a member of the household, and there were three of us, and my parents could always override me. But yeah, I absolutely get that part. You have to decide, do you want to have good relationships with these people, or do you want to be right about your atheism? Like, is that so important to you that your relationships can go to hell? And that's a legitimate question. I'm not saying you can't fall on the other side of that. Like sometimes I've had people hear that their religious relationships with their family are incredibly abusive. Okay. And so leaving those abusive relationships to stick by their non-belief is actually a positive for them. So I'm not diminishing the people that make that decision, but there are those of us that have good relationships with our family, that they weren't abusive, and we just have this disagreement about faith. And that's a tough one. Navigate it carefully. Okay, navigate it carefully. So there are some things that cannot be undone or unsaid. So let's see, living in a majority Christian society is a heavy social pressure to remain, not just religious reasons, business reasons can be a huge. Yes. Some people do have the hard choice of a lot of their business relationships are Christian based. Like if you, I can't imagine like if you ran a Christian oriented business and then suddenly you weren't a Christian anymore. Like how much of your business is reliant on Christian contacts and information? How much of your stuff, how much preliminary business for the beginning of the week gets done at church service? Like some people are that kind of Christian, like they are, like, I don't really believe all this, but I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to lose my business or my business relationships. That's a very real possibility. So makes me incredibly to read or listen to books. I don't get tired. I'm hyped. One of the good things about my autism, Ed, do you think your autism affect your Bible study? Yeah, I think Earl calls it the K hole. Like you can get into this research hole where you just research something to death. Um, I used to get that way with Bible study too. Like I would, like if I decided to do a Bible study on a book of the Bible, let's say I was going to study Romans or something, and I got into that mode, I would start the day studying that book, and by it'd be 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd look up and like, oh crap, I haven't had lunch. Yeah, I can do. I can get so in. I used to get so into that that stuff that would happen. Like I would spend a whole day studying a book of the Bible and not even realize I had done it. Like I'd break it down, have commentaries all over my desk. Um, I think now the internet does that to me. I end up falling down one of Fangs's rabbit holes, and I end up somewhere that I didn't intend. But like Earl did that to me has done that to me several times where she's talked about something. I'm like, oh damn it, now I got to go look it up. so, so yeah, you have to definitely balance relationships. I live alone, so I'm not forced to attend church, but if I lived with them, I might be forced to attend. Okay, so you have the option of like not going to church. So that's a positive. And they're probably not going to, I mean, probably what you miss is somebody offering up a prayer request for you. So there you go. Man, I was feeling pretty good, but I don't feel comfortable being that I'm an atheist. Yeah, that's because it might change the relationship. I would definitely be like, that's a rough one. Like at some point it might make a difference, like, and maybe it won't. But I would, you know, you don't have to be secret about it, but I would also say that you don't have to like blab it all over the place either with your family. Like it's just something like, I mean, I know families that are different brands of Christianity that wouldn't necessarily like each other. They keep that shit to themselves. But so, yeah. See, an oriented customer will talk of religion just to feel you out, see where you are. If you don't say the right things, they won't buy from you ever. Oh, like aren't you, you're in Ohio, right? I went to Ohio for a vacation last year. Very, very Amish where we were. Amish bicycles everywhere, like the motorized ones, the ones you plug in. I thought that was funny. But yeah, I noticed that a lot of businesses had like religious stuff on the walls and things like that in that particular area of Ohio. So, um, yeah, that's very interesting. But yeah, I can see where leaving the religion, being an atheist, might cost you business in that kind of culture. I can see where, like where we were in Ohio, if I had come out as an atheist, some of them might not have done business with me. Yeah, I can see that. Although I think most businesses are happy to take your money. So, and it's smart too. Like it's bad business not to be prejudiced. It really is. So like you lose customers. So there's nothing wrong with the research grind. It's just I used to do that with Bible study when I was in the faith. Like if like I would, if I was in my pastor's study, I remember one time I was getting ready to do like a sermon series on some book of the Bible. And so I opened up that Bible, started researching it. Next thing I knew, it was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I had started in the morning. It's like, I think I got up a couple of times to get a drink. I had an office then in the church, and there was the bathroom was right down the hall, and we had a refrigerator there that could hold snacks and stuff. And I think that's kind of where I lived for the next 9 hours. I've done that several times. So yeah. So there you go. Realized Christian has been after trying to cover my atheist friends and studying it more. Yes. I had a similar experience. Like I had several atheist friends. This is why I'm kind of the atheist that I am. I'm the rabid atheist, but a lot of people get disappointed when I don't foam at the mouth and scream at them. Because that's not the kind of rabbit I am. But yes, I remember when I was in the faith, like talking to my atheist friends, they were always very polite. They I was like, I think they have a valid point. I would talk to my theist friends about, hey, that's a valid point. Do we have evidence for that, or is that bullshit or something like that? Yeah, it's like it's something that you begin to realize that a lot of the times that I was like listening to atheists and talking with them, they were just being very patient and talking to me. So nothing wrong with that. So, but yes. By the way, Skeptic, good to see you. I'm like, I usually greet people before before I talk about it, but yes. I don't want to talk about an option. Not in some cases, Blossom. Like there are some parts of America that religion is a daily topic, like religion and politics are both daily topics, and you can't get away with that. So, so many branches of Christians, hard to know which one is true. They can't agree with their own dogma. How do they even know their branch is the right one? I ask that question often, Nathan. Like I will every once in a while there'll be a theist that gets on the channel, either in the comments or somewhere, and like they'll talk about, well, the reason you left your faith is you didn't have the right one. And that's the first question I will ask. Well, how do you know you have the right one? And and I don't. The funny thing is, about half of them I've never even thought about that. Like they have automatically assumed that their branch of Christianity was the right one. And then when you put it to them, well, how exactly do you know by what comparison standard do you analyze your own faith, your own branch of Christianity with the others to know that yours is the right one and theirs is the wrong one? Yeah, it's one of those things. One of those things. So shop open by appointment. I definitely know that I'm from Kentucky, but I feel that those customers are going to leave regardless. If you're honest, so I'm just saying I'm not comfortable with that. And avoid. Yeah, I mean you could do that. Like yeah, I mean I don't live in that kind of environment. West Michigan is I don't give a damn. Like I um, religion, I think it's interesting how irreligious a lot of people are here. Like, but they'll go to church. Like, it's one of those cultural things where I think Christianity is more cultural than people actually believe it. So, there are some very devout believers too. But yeah, it's like Michigan's a little bit weird for that. Like, you can have people that go to church and you talk to them. Oh, it's just something I do. You know, yeah. It's like it's not a like they really believe it kind of thing. I wouldn't call them atheists, but I wouldn't call them like believers either. So I did all the paint stripping and furniture restoration. Yeah, I mean, if you're the one just doing the technical work, you can let other people run the business side of it. So this friend of 15 years been asked since we met, but he grew up in church and a non-denominational charismatic. I always assume he did have the real thing. Maybe. Oh, he didn't have the real thing. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Um, yeah, there's always that. What's the real Christianity? So, uh, I I dealt with that many times. Like, how do you know that your branch of whatever it is you believe is the real thing? And I get all kinds of answers, and nobody ever really gives me decent answers. Like, they'll say, well, I remember when I was talking to some Orthodox people with this. Well, the Orthodox tradition goes back the full 2,000 years. It's the start of Christianity. And I'm like, Catholicism claims that too. On what basis do you say your claim is correct and the Catholics one isn't? So they make the exact same claim. Like, so on what basis do you say your claim is legit and their claim is not? And at that point, the discussion just kind of breaks down. And so any kind of idea of the real thing or not the real thing or whatever, just it breaks down for a lot of reasons. They just don't have any good answers. So it's like every religion has different branches. It's all confusing and doesn't make any sense. Yep. See, they have thought of they just think their interpretation of the book or an ideology is correct. The other ones just got it wrong. Practice of the devil would mess with it. Yeah, that's another option. Like, like in let's see, like me and the mighty Philbert are former AOG boys in your United Church of Christ, right? Or no, UPC, right? Um, So we used to think you guys were heretics because you didn't get the Trinity right. And you probably felt the same about us because we bought into that silly notion of the Trinity. Yeah, okay, UPC. Okay, that's what I thought. All right. But yes, but that's kind of the thing you're talking about. Like, you would have probably thought that I didn't have the correct interpretation of things back then, and I would have thought, yeah, you don't have the correct interpretation of things. You just misled the devil. The devil is in your denomination. Like, the whole idea of theological schism, heresy, these are all things that we make up so that we can look at other divisions of the same faith and go, yeah, they just didn't quite get it right. And I think you make a very valid point. Like, everybody thinks everybody else is misled and they have the right thing. And so, yes, it's kind of like that. It very much is. Like, we all think, when we were all Christians, we used to think we were right. That's not a hard thing to give up. Like that, when I remember one of the things that I got rid of, I was like, man, I just don't miss the idea of coming up with reasons why I shouldn't associate or fellowship with people anymore. I don't miss that at all. Like, I now look at it more like, how do they treat me? Are they a good person? From a standpoint of morally. Yeah. So, but yes, yes. Same. It reminds me of a bunch of people in a dark room with no cat who caught the cat, but which one is the real cat? Yes. Oh, a social plan in the USA. When I ran for county commissioner, the powers that be insisted that I join the Messianic temple and swear I believe in God. Social roadblock. Yes, that does still exist. But yes. So, yes. So, but yes, there's always kind of, when you run as a certain thing in a certain community, like, imagine it in that same community, running as a Democrat would have been difficult. Yep, it would have happened. I imagine running as an independent. Like, I've told this story many times. Like, I thought about running for county commissioner once. I had a school board, running for school board career. I figured I could dovetail that into another local position. And I went to see what it required. And I found out that if you were a Republican or Democrat and ran on the party ticket, all you had to do was get one person to sign your signature list. Like, you only needed one person on the petition, and you could sign your own name. If you were independent, you had to go out and get 40 signatures to run on the ballot. Like, you had to do all this extra work if you weren't a party line person. So that makes it even more interesting. So, yeah, and it costs 3 times as much, and there's more signatures. Yep, they do that. They play that kind of game all the time at the local level. I don't think people realize how much local shenanigans goes on to keep people out of running for office. So there's a lot of things everybody puts in place to do that. So, yep, I had to get, like, I wanted to run as an independent, and it was like, oh, you need 40 signatures and you have to pay money. And I'm like, do the people that run on the party ticket have to do that? Nope. So I'm like, you gotta be shitting me. So, I think there's still eight states. Yeah, Earl lives in North Carolina. North Carolina is one of those states, I believe, that still has religious requirements for public office. So, though the 1960 Supreme Court decision still holds sway, that those are, on a federal level, they're unconstitutional. So nobody really enforces them anymore, but they still exist in 8 states. Yeah. So, like, yeah, yeah, yep, yeah. North Carolina is still one of those states that technically you can't run as a non-religious person. There's like other ones. I think Pennsylvania is still one. There's a couple. There's like 8 of them where they still have that in their constitution. And so, everybody says, "Oh, that doesn't matter because of the Supreme Court decision in 1960." But my response to that is, yeah, we had a Supreme Court decision called Roe v. Wade too, and it got overturned. So, how strong are Supreme Court decisions with when somebody can overturn them, like a later Supreme Court can overturn them. Like how good is that? Like you really need, if you want something to be strong, you need Congress to pass it, the president to approve it, and the Supreme Court to acknowledge that it's not unconstitutional. That's what you need to have a strong law. Otherwise, it's always overturnable. So, so tomatoes heading away tonight. Tornadoes. Oh, yes. Yeah, the weather's actually been good. It's been like, it got up to 50 today. It's February and it got up to 50. The snow is melting at a rapid rate here in Michigan. It's still standing in piles, but all the paths, there's even brown grass visible. So there you go. So, but yeah. So there you go. Yeah, I'll keep my eye out. We don't usually get tornadoes in my neck of the woods. What we get is those things called wind shears. They're like a powerful straight wind force that will literally get up to gusts of 160 miles an hour and just knock over trees in a straight line. So we've had that many times in my neck of the woods. So the wind will come through some in between the ridges and some down some valley and off the lakes, because there's nothing on the Lake Michigan to stop the wind. Like there's no brakes or anything, and it hits this west side of the state and it just zips. And yeah, we can get that every once in a while. And joining before you become a political actor. I actually have really enjoyed reading Messianic book. I'm surprised. I wonder if that breaks. I don't think it does. Like there are some Freemason groups that like they still want you to be involved in that and acknowledge God in order to run for public office. Like they won't back you unless you do. Like there's still a lot of groups that do that. So not just them. So I'm not kind of surprised. I don't think it breaks their Messianic laws or they wouldn't do it. Thanks, Philbert. Sat behind my piano, my pulpit leading worship with a great band, backup singers, and a full choir. I do miss that rush sometimes. Yes. I know what you're saying. Like I miss the euphoria of a service, but I kind of get that in other ways now. I can go to a rock concert and get the same thing. I just wish, I was famous enough to stand on the stage and people wouldn't throw like canned fruit at me if I sang. So, but yes, but thank you very much. Oh, so there you go. Yes, microbursts. Yes, we have those. Like there's an area of forest south of me about 6 miles. It's a straight line of about 400 yards. All the trees are laying one direction, and they were all blown over and laying over. Like it was that strong. There was a house in the way of that. It got damaged pretty bad. So it exists. That's usually what we get around here. We get that. That's more common than a tornado, although tornadoes do happen. But that's a far more common thing around here. So Sharknadoes, yeah, no, I don't believe in Sharknadoes. Oh, look at that! Thanks, Evan, for a whole year. Heck yeah, heck yeah. No, I think part of Freemasonry is acknowledging a divine power. I think you'd have to be at least a deist to join the Freemasonists. I'm not into that sort of thing anyway, but I don't. Yeah, the organization may not approach you, but there might be some Freemasons that definitely want you to join before they'll back you politically. So, but yes, but yeah, this is awesome. A year, all right, Evan. But I think I don't know. I think they require you to be a deist at least. You have to believe in a God. They were founded by like people that believed in God but didn't necessarily follow any branch of Christianity in particular. So, like, well, that's the other problem I have. Like, I'm a metalhead, and a lot of my favorite metal groups like have songs about, like, Iron Maiden has a lot of shit, like the Number of the Beast, and a few others like there's all kinds of, Iron Maiden's probably the best example, but like some of the rest of them just have like devil worship, paraphernalia, all that stuff. Good God, Motley Crue with their, shout at the devil and all that other stuff. So yeah, that's kind of the problem because I don't believe in that stuff either. So, but it's great music. So, I mean, Ozzy Osbourne. Well, who else? Like a whole bunch of them. All right, yeah, I'll have that stuff available. I will be at work, so usually our company keeps an eye on the weather pretty hard, and they'll issue weather warnings to management, like keep an eye out for this. So, like, I'll definitely keep because right now it's kind of weird because you got a cold front coming in, meeting a warm front, and it's warm enough where you can get a tornado. So it's like it's weird. It's a weird weather system. So slave masons, there you go. Yeah, they do have a bunch of woo too. Freemasons do have a bunch of woo. So yeah, I mean, teach their own. Like I'm just glad to be leaving the part of my religion that used to say that certain music groups were of the devil and certain types of music were satanically inspired, and it's like no. And the problem with living through the '80s is I remember all that stuff. The Satanic Panic was actually really good for some rock groups. Like they ate that up. Oh my goodness. To meet up with the pastor every Wednesday for breakfast. We'd talk about religion and history, counsel me on difficult problems. I talked to him about that. I miss some of that too. Like I used to have friends like that too that I don't have anymore. I can relate. Finding a good friend to talk to is always a good one. So there you go. Oh, Fluffle Crew. There we go. And actually, that's number 5. And hey, we're not even an hour into this stream. And if I'm reading this right, the Irish Fedora, as we look forward to St. Patrick's Day, it's a little small, but I'll wear it anyway. So there you go. So the hat has been done. Appreciate it to all of you in the Fluffle. This is the Fluffle Crew. Is this a satanic Fluffle Crew hat? Like, is this demonic? Because I've been accused, like some people have accused me of being in league with Satan because I'm an atheist. So is that way? Okay, that may be valid. Oh, for Freemasons, you have to believe in God, some supreme being, or left to your discretion. They simply evaluate your sincerity of belief. Some lodges require the belief in the immortal soul. Okay, so there you go. Yes, the Irish Fedora has come out. It's plaid too. So is it a Scottish Irish fedora? Do they even get along? I used to have like British, like United Kingdom fans, and I haven't seen some of them in a while. So they used to tell me about this stuff. Yeah, it's very demonic. Oh, hey, thanks anyway. Thanks, Ron. It looks like Scent got that. So there you go. Welcome to the membership. That might actually, like I'm going to be working on a video this weekend. And so some of you will see that on this weekend, hopefully. I've made up my mind and put it on my calendar and have ways of smacking myself across the head if I don't do it. Scrish. Yeah, well, I have that. So it's part of the cocktail that is my genetics. Like a quart of it is British Isles, which included Scottish and Irish. So there we go. There we go. Plaid just means blanket. Okay, there we go. Well, yeah, that's probably true. They have that same Catholic Irish Scottish provide. But I think the Scottish were kind of Calvinistic kind of people too. So you'll see. Okay. There you go. There you go. But yeah. I don't know. Feels like you're talking to somebody. I could do that. I talk to people on my streams now. I don't know, this hat's a little small. You remember that Scrishmore? Okay, there you go. The Scottish Irish comes out in a lot of us. A lot of us Midwestern white boys, like there's a lot of Scot and Irish in that. So it's the old joke. But yeah, it happens a lot. But yeah, my one grandfather was a very much a mix of all the British Isles, from Welsh to English to Scottish and Irish. They were all kind of in his family tree. So Scottish religious attitudes. Oh, train spotting too. Okay, all right. Yeah, because I'm like when I was growing up, um, the whole Irish Republican Army thing was going on when I was a kid and a teenager. Like there were stories about conflict, like in the streets, bombings. Like it was like I haven't heard a lot of that lately, and so I just wonder what's going on there. Like have they just decided to coexist and be peaceful about it, or they just decide that the whole violence thing was kind of stupid, or I don't know. So yeah, most folks are from West Virginia. So the Scottish and Irish ask if you're a Protestant atheist or a Catholic atheist. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. The troubled times in Ireland. Yeah, like I remember that because wasn't it the band U2 did a song called Bloody Sunday that was about some of that. Like I just remember when I was in high school, I was asked to analyze like a news story, and the news story that they chose was from Ireland, and there was a short story about some Irish resistance fighters fighting the English. So yeah, I just remember that was a big thing back when I was a kid. Like everybody was talking about it. It was like one of the news items all the time. So almost like Israel. All it was things haven't changed with that one. So you have an uncle who never was known as Uncle Wales. Yeah, that could be like I don't know. That part of my ancestry is pretty well documented because my mom's family is very well documented going all the way back. So the Dutch part in particular, because that's kind of short. Like my great grandparents were Dutch, all of them pretty much, and they came over on the boat. So, and then the other half of that is the British Isles, where the Ackleys were there. There's like several hymn writers, and if you open up your typical church hymn book from back in the day and you see the word something Ackley, it's probably one of my mother's relatives. So, so that wrote that hymn. So a little bit of famous church stuff there for you from me. When I was born in London, the IRA did quite a lot of bombings, but it's been pretty much in control for a long time now. Yeah, that's what I kind of thought. Like, but it was kind of ugly there through the late 70s, through the 80s, and into the early 90s. It was not fun. Like there was a lot of anger. I remember that. I went to confession at the Orthodox Church, confessed, but nothing changed or felt different. I still sinned when I got home the next day. Yeah, that's kind of the point of confession, I think. It's just alleviation of guilt temporarily, but it doesn't so. Why is Richard Burton never knighted? I don't know. The whole heraldry thing just baffles me still. I think it's cool, don't get me wrong. I've been listening a lot to history stuff from England of late, so at work keeps my mind off it. I alternate between that and listening to music. So, but history videos tend to be my thing sometimes. So, one of my grandfather's relatives, we have no idea who he is except he was somehow part of the founding government for then Czechoslovakia. Oh, okay. Belfast was a nasty town for a while. Yeah, yeah, I can see that. He probably declined. Yeah, the smart politician is the one who declines the office. So yeah, but yes. Yeah, see, I just remember that so much, you know. So now I have a plaid Irish hat. Um, Actually, this is one of the first hats that was revealed during the beginnings of the hat thing. So this is actually a historic moment. This one hasn't been out of the box for a while, so glad to get it back into circulation. So some people just have trying to decline the pageantry. Yes, there's a lot of truth to that. Remember, you wouldn't believe in politics how much of it's pageantry. It's all smoke and mirrors to keep people not paying attention to the real stuff that's going on. After the Cray brothers, Ron and Ruddy. Okay. Oh, Ronnie and Reggie Cray. Hmm. Oh man, it is interesting. It is the Cray brothers. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Go through the list here. I'll make sure I didn't miss anything. So I'm getting ready to kind of bow out at this point because I'm going to stay on for a few more minutes because of the hat. See you later, Wolf. Yeah, I got a dip here in about 5-10 minutes myself. So you don't have any biblical views anymore. I have to actually bow. I can't do that. I'll hurt myself. No, I'm kidding, but it's just no. I'm kind of stuck in a chair. It's hard to bow in this position. You know, like if I bow, it's not going to be the camera's not going to catch anything. So it might catch the wrong things too. So I wouldn't want that. But yeah, yeah. I think we should make up a party that's named this the Monster Ravy Looting Party. That is like that's golden party identification. That so the hat's primo. Okay, fair enough. See, some people like the hat. This hat's been around for a long time. Like this is it's probably its year anniversary. Like I think I grabbed this one right before St. Patrick's Day last year. So you can tell how exhausted you are by the sheer amount of caps I'm using tonight. I got a cap on too. See, another name for hat, cap. But yeah, like when you get tired, like you have to watch that stuff, Evan. You really do. Like, yeah, yeah. But you know, being exhausted, you know, you got to find that balance, man. You got to find the balance of doing what you do and also making sure you get time to relax. I know I have to do that all the time. So, so there you go. Yeah, you know, I think that's going to be the story of the midterms right there. I think that's going to be it. So, the word meanings this week. Yeah, that you gotta find that, Evan. I love you for doing what you're doing, but one of the things you learn early and all that is like you got to find some balance for yourself too. But yes, yes. So, yeah. See, he's confused. I'm confused too, but yes, you got to find that balance, Evan, because it's like it's a rough thing when you're doing good stuff and you know you're doing good stuff and you take a lot of pleasure out of that and you take a lot of bat pat back patting out of that, and but at the same time, it is exhausting. I remember my time doing some of the stuff I did, and it's like finding that balance is the first thing you got to find. So otherwise, if you find it, you'll do it long term and you'll love it. But if you can't find that balance, yeah, it's not good. You got to know when to turn the phone off too sometimes because people want to contact you for stuff. So I remember in my time on the school board, people would blow up my phone and I'd be like, nope, not today. Not today. So, so I don't know how some of these politicians do it. Like, forget the political infighting. Just think about the jobs sometimes where people are constantly badgering you, constantly wanting your attention. Lobbyists are in your face all day. Like, I don't know how they do it. I'm glad I got out. I'm much better as an analyst than as a participant. Oh my gosh, it was awful. After a while, it just gets awful. Everybody wants you to listen to them and why they bitch and gripe about stuff. It's great stuff. So, check my messages. Okay, which one? Did you send it in our new format or the old format? Oh. Okay, hold on. I've gotta save the picture. What am I gonna call this? And then I can. Anyway, I thought so, but there we go. All right, this is a new one from Earl. So, see, if you hang around long enough, as a person, there you go. For those of you that want to know why Earl's sometimes late, there you go. Yes, if you want to know the story about that, Earl and I had a changing of the guard as far as how we message each other. We moved from Facebook Messenger to actual texting. It frustrates Earl less. So, and I'm sure it's probably the last thing I'll do that. So, yeah, it's the right minute. There we go. Maybe Cranky has a valid point. Yeah, go do it. Go find a D&D group. Yeah, if you live in an area with a lot of people, and you can find a D&D group. Do it. Like, I'm just saying, I'm all approving of you, Nathan, just poking around because you're going to find out all the things that they said were so demonic are either A, normal, or B, just the same as them. So, as the standing in the back, dressed stupidly and looking stupid party. Yes, I'm in Michigan, Jacqueline. Yep. Yeah, I'm a West Michigander. I'm To put it in Michigan terms, if you drive an hour north of Grand Rapids, Michigan, you will find the little town of Reed City, and that's where I live, at the crossroads of US 10 and US 131. So that's my hometown. I've lived here most of my life, probably 75% of my life I've lived in this town. And now I'm kind of settled down permanently and I kind of like it. So yeah, a D&D group is a great way to, if you come from that fundamentalist background where they told you not to play Dungeons and Dragons and it's demonic, find yourself a D&D group, create yourself a character, play a game, and you'll be instantly enlightened to all the bullshit that they used to say about it. And if you don't like it, that's fine too. So that's cool too. So yes, most of my life. You shouldn't say that word. That's why I changed it. Earl is here. You need to avoid that word, Evan. She will hurt you. So. See, I'm telling you, Evan. Be good. Be good. Oh. Electric Forest Music Festival. Hold on. Uh, hold on. Why does it do that? Electric Forest 2026. The Electric Forest Music Festival. Yep. Rothbury, yes. I know where Rothbury is. Oh, wow. They have like a ton of groups too. Like it's not a small thing. So there you go. Yeah. So, but yes, yeah, it's a thing. Yeah. Yeah, it's a man. Yeah, there's like a crap ton of music at this thing. So if you're into, oh, and it's in a great location too, Earl. Like the forest there is really cool looking. Like it makes it all. Oh yeah, I know where this is. That's a great area of the state too. It's beautiful there. So. Oh, there you go. Yep. And again, my tattoo artist and I are finally setting a date for my second tattoo, and I'm super excited. There you go. See? You people haven't learned. You haven't learned. No. Oh my gosh. Yeah, what are you getting, Evan, this time? What are you getting? You can borrow my couch, but I don't have one. Like I'm one of those weird people that doesn't have a television or a couch. So I could get one if you need a couch. But like I live in a small apartment, so I had to make a decision: either a table to do all my nerdy shenanigans, or or a couch. so, so, so I have a table with a chair in front of it with all my nerd stuff on the table. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, so like I literally do not have a couch in my house because I just like there's just not a lot of room in here. I have maximum use of space or stuff that I do, but I just don't have like the extra room for like a couch and a TV even. So I do all my television watching here. So it's one of my kitties wearing a respirator, and the second one is going to be a matching tattoo of Blackie to represent both my kitties in a respirator. Oh, yeah, I could do that. There you go. Yeah, I can find one of those. I think a family member has one of those. I can borrow one. Not a problem. The couch I bought for my Orthodox prayer. It's taking up space now. There you go. Yeah, it's funny. Like when I first got divorced, um, and I moved to Texas, I literally took everything I owned that I could carry inside of my Jeep Patriot. That's all I had when I arrived. Everything else I have gained since. And so, and then when I moved back, I had to dump some of that stuff and reacquire it because I just couldn't do it. Like there was just no way to haul it all back here. I probably should have, I might have saved us a little bit of money if I'd rented, but not much. So yeah, so I literally started from scratch at one point, and now I'm in an apartment that is very weirdly designed, and so like the living room is the largest room, and yet even so, I can fit this desk, a table, a corner bookshelf, and my weights, and that's pretty much it. So, yes. Yeah. You're an easy house guest? Okay. And I'll have to clean the place and everything. No, I'm kidding. It's usually always clean. So, see you later, Phil. Yeah, I gotta zip too. I've got to get ready. Yeah, you got Evan. You're gonna have to send a pic to Earl. Do that. So, see ya. But yeah, I'm gonna have to jet. Great work though, Earl. Yes. Like I like how you can just do things with things these days. It's great. Pretty sure you shouldn't say that about Jesus. Do you mean this? Yeah, I saw that too. uh, all right. So the tattoo photos have been arranged. I'm good. All right. Thanks everybody for stopping by. I want to give a special shout out to everybody who kind of donated, and I got to give Azo his credit for sticking with me for 27 months. Cranky Elder God for the fangs of it. Josh putting some of the bucket for the bucket hat. 23 from Martin. Wolf Sinclair is moving his membership to Rabyd Atheist. The mighty Philbert talking about his time back in the day. He misses where he was the worship leader and all that stuff. I get that. It's a hard thing to go away from. Evan being a member for a year. The Fluffle crew from Josh as well. And I want to thank Ron for the one gifted membership, which I think went to Cent. So thank you one and all. Appreciate all of you. Appreciate everybody in the Fluffle here. May Fangs nibble on all of your hearts. May he purify your vegetables with his pointy teeth from religious corruption. Make sure you leave a circumcised carrot out on your stash for Fangs so that he will have to make the decision of whether to take the circumcised carrot or your stash or both, because sometimes that does happen. It's not a guarantee that it'll save your stash, but it's worth a try. Make sure you wiggle your noses, fluffers, to all the other fluffers in your life. Make sure you're wiggling your noses towards each other. I can't do that, or I would. But thanks, everybody, for stopping by. Nom nom and all of that. May Fangs bless you all. And as always, folks, live your best life. You only get one go around and then it's over. So make sure you're taking all your time, your money, your opportunities, and giving them to yourself, the people you love and care for, and to make this a better world. You'd be happier if you do. And don't waste it on the trappings of religion and faith, because that's a dead end. I speak from experience. And as always, folks, thanks for stopping by. I will catch all of you next time tomorrow. And even Fred will be there, he says. So we'll see Fred tomorrow too. We'll be reviewing some more of Paulogia's video where he's dealing with Alex O'Connor and all the rest of them and all the apologists talking about Rhett's views of fixing Christianity. We'll see y'all then. Appreciate y'all. And bye until next time tomorrow. See you then.
It's time to take a